Hello, my loves. Welcome to another episode of the Becoming You podcast. I'm super excited about this episode today because it's a topic that I haven't visited in a really, really long time. And my perspective on this topic has actually changed. And as a result, a lot of my coaching has changed as well. And it was sparked by a question that was asked inside of a Facebook group that I'm a part of. And anyway, I'm going to tell you what the question was. Somebody had said, and I'm not reading it out because I can't be bothered to bring up the post, but somebody had said, recently, or maybe not so recently, somebody really hurt me and I am not able to move past it. There are days that go by where I don't ever think about it. And then all of a sudden something will trigger the memory. And then I'm like, for 3 or 4 days, it continues to bother me so deeply. Like, how do I forgive, forget, move on in my life from this? And I thought, oh, what a fabulous question. So I responded in the comments with my thoughts, and I thought I need to make a podcast episode of this. So let's delve into the question of how do I forgive someone? Okay. So I'm actually going to go a different route to answering this question. The bigger question needs to be, do I need to forgive them? Right. And in the past, I would have said, yes, forgiveness is amazing. You don't do forgiveness for the other person. You do it for yourself, which, by the way, that part is true. You don't forgive the person to let them off the hook. You forgive for yourself. But my perspective on do we need to forgive has changed. And side note, it is totally okay to change your mind, guys. Just because I preached a different perspective in the past does not mean I don't have the permission to change your mind. As we learn, as we grow, as we evolve, as we have new life experiences, and we are constantly evolving, you're allowed to change your mind, right? There was once upon a time, every human on this earth thought the earth was flat and there was an edge to the earth and you could fall off, right? And then we had new evidence and scientists that said, no, the earth is actually round, right? It's a circle and there is no edge. And now everybody, once they believed it and there was enough evidence, they all bought into the new idea, right? So that would have been a generation of people that went from the earth is flat to, oh, I've changed my mind. Based on new evidence, I now believe that the earth is a circle, right? So you're allowed to change your mind based on new information that comes into your life. So if you're thinking, what, Lisa, you used to teach this before or coach this before, and now you change your mind, like what kind of a coach does that make you? Like that actually makes me a really good coach because it means I'm open to change. It means that I'm safe with acknowledging that I was wrong about something, or like not necessarily wrong, but that was my belief then based on my strength as a coach. And it did help people, right? And now I have a different perspective. And this is what I now believe, right? So side note, you're allowed to change your mind. So going back to, do we have to forgive someone in order to move on? I would say my answer now is no. Like, forgiveness is a choice, and you don't have to be powerless in saying, I can't move on unless I choose to forgive somebody. Okay. And I actually think that really empowers you. Is forgiveness beneficial? Absolutely, yes. I think there's so much power in learning to forgive somebody for what they've done. There is, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying don't forgive. I think there's a lot of powerful benefits from forgiveness, because if you don't forgive, right, like there's a lot of health health issues that come from that because you're holding on to resentment, anger, blame. You're also saying that that person has control over my life and my outcomes and my results. Like I'm not willing to let them go, right? Literally, you're not willing to let them go, even though you don't maybe like them. You want to get them out of their head. By not forgiving, they continue to take up space in your energetic fields, in your mind, in your heart, etc., and in your body. So there is so much power to forgiveness, but not everyone is ready to forgive right? Not everyone's ready to forgive. They haven't grown. They're not in that space yet. So I want to give you some guidance on how do you move past something without forgiving? Because then this is great because you have choices now. It says that you can move on regardless of whether you're willing to forgive or not. That will not impact your well-being and your future, right? How powerful is that? Because now you have more of a choice. Before, the story was, if you want to move on and create the type of life you want, you have to forgive, right? The have to then makes you powerless. Like you're saying there's no other choice. So the first question we start with is, do I want to forgive? Yes or no? That's a choice you get to make. The second question then becomes, can I still move past without forgiving? The answer to that question is absolutely yes. So a lot of well-meaning people on this post then said, time heals or something along that idea, right? Of like, after a while, it won't bring up as any intense emotions anymore. Like time heals all wounds. We've heard that saying, right? And then that will help you forget. And once you don't have as much of an intense, like rising of emotions when you think about this event, that means you moved on. So I commented by starting to say, time does not heal all wounds. And I am a strong believer and proponent of that. Time does not heal all wounds, guys. Time just means you push it down deeper and deeper and deeper into your body, and it just festers over time. It might not show up in your life on a conscious level, on a conscious everyday level, but I promise you that shit circles around. And it will look a different way. So it might not be this specific person that upsets you when you recall them, right? It will then become somebody at work who then does something, right? And it will trigger the same emotions and the same stories and the same beliefs that this person did in the past, right? So even though the actual memory and that actual person from the past no longer makes you feel the things that they did when it was fresh, the same emotions that you felt, the same stories that you told yourself, the meanings that you created from that experience will continue to show up as a pattern in your life. So this is why it's really important to learn, how do I move on without forgiving and not necessarily forgetting, because you're not going to forget. Your body will not forget. So I started by saying time heals. Time does not heal all wounds, right? Here's the reason why time does not heal all wounds. You might release it from your memory, right? And our memory is a very complicated thing, which I can make a whole another podcast episode about. But your memory is a very complicated thing. And so every time, like you remember it, yes, the emotions might not be as intense, but what am I trying to say here? Those emotions are actually embedded in your body, right? The wounding is embedded in your body. So what we want to do to move on is, here are the 4 steps. 1, we want to recall the memory of this person hurting you. And then you really want to be in the event as it is happening. This is scary for people because they're like, I don't want to go back to that and feel all that pain again. But that is the trick to moving past it, is because you're avoiding it is why it keeps staying within you. In order to release it, we actually have to go back to that moment through your memory. As your memory remembers it, you don't have to remember it in every detail, but you do have to be open to recalling the memory as though it is happening now with whatever amount of details that you have. The memory itself of like the visuals does not have to be super accurate. The reason we're recalling it in whatever detail that you can recall it is so that you can activate the emotions that you felt at the time, right? thoughts and memories activate our emotions. And this is really a gateway to activate your emotion, right? But what we want to do is when you first recall the memory, it might take you a while to get into those emotions, or you might be there right away. Depends on the person, depends on how you're able to recall it, how intense and how deep the wounding was at the time. And so once you recall the emotion, we actually want to start disassociating. What that means is you want to put some distance between this happened to me versus witnessing yourself, right? So when you go back to that memory, I often guide my clients to stand back and witness what is happening. And that little bit of space that you put in between, this is happening to me, my emotions are me. You then put that distance, then creates the narrative of, I felt these emotions, right? Not that these emotions are me, but I experienced these emotions. And then we can start to, through breath work, and this is all done through breath work, by the way, like where you recall the memory, where you feel the emotion of what happened when the wounding occurred. And then to go into, what do you want to feel? Like, what would have made you feel empowered? How do you wish it had gone? What do you wish you had said? So we want to experience the full depth and intensity of the emotions that you felt at the time. Only then can you then ask yourself, like, what did I want to feel? Like, what would have felt really good in terms of empowering me? What would I wish I'd said to that person, right? How do I wish I'd stood up for myself? What would have felt really good? So we want to go into that. And then what would then have made you feel? Like, what do you want to feel instead, right? You probably felt like you'd been rejected. So maybe you want to feel the feeling of, I want to feel like I belong and I want to feel like I'm accepted, right? And so that's how we move through letting go of what happened. Because through breath work, what you are doing is literally rearranging the stories and the meanings that you created during the original event. You didn't have the capacity to process it in an empowering way. The event made you feel disempowered. The event created certain stories that were really unhelpful. And this event also cemented like some very unhelpful beliefs you had about yourself at the time. And so through breath work, once you have allowed yourself with intention and permission to feel the emotions that you felt at the time, you then realize these are like illusions and unhelpful stories that keep repeating in my life because of stuff that happened when I was very, very young. And we don't always have to go back to that original memory. But you basically have very good reasons to believe that I'm unworthy, I don't belong, I'll never be accepted, like things like that, right? And these are all lies that we tell ourselves. And so through breath work, we can start to rearrange these narratives and ask ourselves, what is the feeling I wanted to feel instead? What is it that I'm pining for? And what is it that I'm craving for? And for most of us, it's, I am lovable, I am worthy, I'm deserving, I'm limitless, I'm free. These are all very basic but universal human emotions that we all want to experience for as long as possible. So then we can, again, through breath work, we can start to recall and ask our bodies to show us, what do those feelings feel like in my body, right? If you can feel pain, you certainly have the capacity to feel empowering decisions like joy and bliss and satisfaction and contentment and fullness and wholeness, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So in breath work, you don't have to forgive the person. You just go, the person did what they did. That has really nothing to do with me. All I'm responsible for is rearranging the stories and the beliefs that I have created out of this event. I'm going to feel it. I'm going to give myself the medicine I need. I'm going to heal it. I'm going to rearrange and create new meanings. And then I'm just going to release it. I'm going to literally reduce, and the word abolish came to mind, but I don't think I'm going to use that word. Reduce and release this event as a non-event in our life. Like, we draw the lessons from it, right? Like, as a result of this happening, what are the lessons, if any, can you draw from it? And there's usually a lesson. And the lesson just could be, this person really taught me that my worth needs to come from me and not from them. This person taught me that, I need to find my own safety instead of waiting for somebody else to show me that I can be safe, right? Things like that. That could just be the lesson. And it might have also then led you to then finding your person after this person broke your heart or whatever, right? Just drawing some random examples. So you could be like, the lesson or the takeaway here is that I'm kind of grateful for this person because they came along and they treated me like crap. But right after that event and after I recovered, I actually then met my forever person. And I wouldn't have met my forever person if all of this stuff hadn't happened in the past. So you're just grateful for this person for that reason, right? Once we do that work, then we can let go. That's it. So you didn't actually have to forgive this person, right? All you needed to do through breath work was to rearrange the meanings and the stories and the emotions that were held in your body. And that is how you move on from something in your life without having to forgive the person if you don't want to. But I highly do recommend that you also do the work of forgiving. All right. I hope you enjoyed this very short but powerful episode. And I want to know what came up for you as you heard this podcast episode. And as always, don't forget to click on the show notes to apply, not to apply, but to book a call with me if you've been considering working with me and wondering, like, how does it actually work? And to learn if this is the right next step for you in your life. I'm always excited about these calls because I get to meet you guys and talk to you. And I will be very honest with you at the end. And if it's not the right fit for you, I'm going to tell you, like, I'm not going to be able to help you get what you want. So that way you're not left wondering and you are very clear on what your next steps need to be. All right. I love you guys so much. Take care and I'll catch you on the next episode.